Bonjour! Today we are going to compare 5 main French tenses with a group 1 French verb. Okay, today's lesson is going to be really useful for you lot who would like to have an overview of one verb in 5 different tenses. So please keep watching. It's really important. Okay, so the objective today is to get an overall overview of the 5 main tenses for regular ER verbs. Okay, now if you're not familiar with the regular, irregular verbs, please have a look at my lessons on this subject. Okay, what we are going to do is have a look at a comparison table, and I think for students out there, it's the best way to see a verb conjugated in 5 different tenses by putting it or the verb we are about to conjugate next to each other. Okay, so you will look at different endings in the 5 main tenses. Now remember, we're focusing on irregular verbs. As an example, I am using marcher, okay, to walk, which is a regular verb, and I think it will give you a really clear idea of how to conjugate it in a present tense, passé composé tense, imperfect tense, future, and conditional. So, are we ready to do it? Let's have a look at the present tense. When we conjugate the verb to walk in the present tense, we technically want to say I walk or I am walking, because that means both in French. But we've got only one way of doing that in French. You have two in English. I walk, I am walking. Okay. Now this is the way it goes. Je marche, tu marches, il marche, elle marche, on marche, nous marchons, vous marchez, il marche, elle marche. So basically we are saying I am walking or I walk, you're walking, and so on. Have a look at the endings for the ER verb. They are very simple. It's E, ES, EONS, EZ, ENT. Okay. Now this is simple enough. But when you put it into the passé composé, which is in effect, what we want to say is I walked or I have walked. How do you do it in French, and how does it compare to the present tense on the left-hand side, like you see? So I walked, I have walked is quite simple. You use an auxiliary verb. In that case, it's avoir. So you need to know how to say I have, you have in order to do that. J'ai marché, I have walked. Tu as marché. Il a marché. Elle a marché. On a marché. Nous avons marché, vous avez marché, ils ont marché, elles ont marché. So, quite simply, a regular verb, how do you form the marché with an accent? You drop the R and you add an accent. This word marché is known as a past participle, okay? So basically, we've learned how to say I walked, you walked. So you're going to tell me, but hold on a minute, it doesn't say that. It says I have walked. Yes, because that's the only way we can do a past tense in French, okay? Whereby in English you can do I walked. In French you have to say I have walked, okay? Now let's have a look at another tense next to each other, and you will see that is there a pattern, is there not a pattern? Let's have a look at the imperfect tense. Now the imperfect tense of marcher, we are going to learn how to say I was walking or I used to walk. Once again, in English, you have 2 ways of representing the imperfect. We have only one. And how do we do that? By adding those special endings. Here we go. Je marchais, tu marchais, il marchait, elle marchait, on marchait, nous marchions, vous marchiez, il marchait, elle marchait. And basically, we've just learned how to say I was walking, you were walking, or I used to walk, you used to walk. Now remember, okay, I was walking, I used to walk is the same in French. You form it by adding these special endings to the stem marche of the verb.
How do you get that stem?
The stem is quite simple. For the imperfect tense, you have a look at the present tense. Have a look at this. Okay. Now, look at the nous form of that present tense. It's nous marchons. See that? Well, you take the stem of the nous, marche, M-A-R-C-H, and you add it and start conjugating the imperfect verb using that stem, marche, okay? And that's how you use the stem for the imperfect tense. It works really well here because it's a regular verb, but you will learn that if you conjugate an irregular verb or an aya verb, it's very useful to have the beginning stem of the nous form of the present tense, okay? Now, let's have a look at another tense next to each other, future. Now, what we are going to learn how to say here is I will walk. In English, and as a non-English speaker, I mean, I speak English because I learnt it, but you realize how easy it is to speak in the future tense because all you need to do is use that modal will. I will walk, you will walk, he will walk, and there I have the future tense. Doesn't work like that in French. No, it works with a special ending, okay? And these endings are here. Look at that. Je marcherai, I will walk. Tu marcheras, il marchera, elle marchera, on marchera, nous marcherons, vous marcherez, ils marcheront, elles marcheront. Now, what we've done here, we kept the whole verb as it is, marcher, and we added those special endings, the a and the a and a and on and a and on. Okay, so this is the way we form a future tense. Now, to finish and to compare it next to each other, now it becomes so much clearer when you have the whole chart, okay, and you compare it next to each other. What does the conditional look like? The conditional means that we are about to learn how to say I would walk, okay? And just like the future tense, there is no such a thing as will or would in French. So, how do we do it in French? Well, we add special endings. The way we do the conditional, we take the stem of the future tense, which is marcher, the whole verb, and we add the ending of the imperfect endings. Can you see them? Okay, now you've got the chart, you can see. So the endings are the same as the imperfect, but the stem is different. The stem is used from the future stem. So, I would walk is je marcherais. Tu marcherais, you would walk. Il marcherait. Elle marcherait. On marcherait. Nous marcherions. Have a look at that. It's not nous marcherons. Next to the future, it's nous marcherions. There is always that little letter I in between. Okay, one means I will walk, but the other one, because we have added the I, means I would walk. Vous marcheriez, same here. Il marcherait, elle marcherait. Now, have a look at the whole of the chart now. We have conjugated the verb marcher, which is dead easy, by the way, because it's a regular verb. And we've done it next to each other. Do you notice any pattern? Do you notice anything that will help you learn really quickly these 5 different tenses? Now, as I said to you, I gave you a trick of how to conjugate in the imperfect tense. Okay, we've got the special ending, and the conditional tense take exactly the same endings as the imperfect. Have a look. Okay, but the future tense, and this is where it's really funny. Is that funny? How nerdy is that? Ooh, exciting. Now, the future tense is actually, have a look at the endings. Et, a, on, et, on. Now, have a look at the passé composé now. J'ai, tu as, il a, nous avons, vous avez, ils ont. Now, this is exactly the same endings. The auxiliary verb to have is the same endings as the future tense. Can you see that? So maybe when you come to conjugating a future tense, a verb in a future tense, remember, how do we say I have, you have, he has in French? And these are your endings for the future tense. J'ai, tu as, il a. Je marcherai, tu marcheras, il marchera. Can you see that? There you have it. There is a pattern here somewhere. And by the way, sorry for the lawnmower noise if you heard it, okay? Not my fault, but I am recording in my back garden after all. Anyway, that's it for me. Remember to subscribe to Learn French with Alexa and leave a comment. I will endeavor to answer it. And also, the support guide to this lesson is available at learnfrenchwithalexa.com. Au revoir, à bientôt. Bisous, bisous.